Hello and welcome to Sound Bites. I'm your host, Holly Whitfield. I'm here today with Chef Theresa Schuenke from Fawn, a Cooper Young restaurant that opened in May of 2025. We're going to talk with Theresa today all about Fawn and about the gin pairing dinner I had with her last night. Welcome.
Hi, it's nice to be here.
Thank you again. So if you're listening, you need to know that Sound Bites is the Daily Memphians weekly food, drink, and dining podcast. It's a part of our free podcast series. You can hear the newest episodes every week on WYXR radio. Catch us there on Thursdays at 11 a.m. You can also type in with your little fingers Sound Bites Daily Memphian and subscribe on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or your favorite podcast app for free. You can even stream episodes at dailymemphian.com. We have unlocked no subscription, no paywall, no logging in, all of our podcast stories so you could just listen for free very easily. But if you are listening live on WYXR now, up next you can hear the Sidebar podcast with our Daily Memphian CEO, Eric Barnes. But let's get started with Theresa and Fawn. People call it farm to table. Mm-hmm. People have called it tapas. I don't know if I agree necessarily because the portions seem bigger than tapas. But farm to table, small plates. And you've only been in Memphis like 8 months now.
Yes.
So let's start at the beginning though.
Okay.
Where are you from? How did you get into food?
Sure. So I am from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And born and raised there. And I guess it's funny because I always talk about with my other like chef friends, like what was your origin story? Like why do you cook? And so mine, I guess I would have to say I'm the eldest child of a family of 5 people total. Yes. And very early on, both my parents worked and I had a dinner night that I had to make dinner for my family. And I will say this, and I'm sorry, Mom. My mom was not a very good cook. We had like 5 of the same meals. Sure. So she had this like Betty Crocker cookbook, and I think I was in like 6th or 7th grade, and I would whip it out and I would look through and see what was in the pantry and just make meals that we had not had or I had never even had before. There was a lot of misses in the early days. Of course. But I think it just kind of came from that. Like I just always liked cooking. Another huge thing that I always kind of talk about is that my whole family would get together for Sunday suppers up until I was like in high school. So the act of like gathering and having a meal and like cooking a meal and sharing that with people that you care about is just very like special and romanticized in my mind. Speaking of romanticized, how would you describe Wisconsin cuisine? Wisconsin cuisine. Wisconsin cuisine gets a bad rap, I feel like. Everybody thinks it's just like sausages and cheese, which are really delicious and amazing. Yes. But we also have a lot of farmers up there that grow like amazing produce. And I think, Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Madison, and like the Driftless region up there are seeing this huge surgence. I know like, 2 seasons ago, they filmed Top Chef in Wisconsin. Yeah. And one of my friends was on it. And so I thought it was really cool to kind of feature things that people maybe really don't think of when they think of like, Wisconsin, like, food that you can get in Wisconsin. Right. Is it a hot dish there, or is it a casserole, or is it something else? Hot dish is like, that would be like northern Wisconsin. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that. It's like a regional thing. Rabbit hole. Okay. So after you're making food for your family, did you study culinary arts, or how did you go from that to this is what I want to do for my job? I didn't start cooking until I was in my late 20s. I had always worked in the service industry. So I've worked in like front of the house and served and actually managed front of the house as long as I've cooked at this point. And I just always really loved working in restaurants. I loved the challenge of it, the fast pacedness of it. I think a lot of us are a little bit of adrenaline junkies, like when we work in the industry. And, I also liked the social aspect of it. You get to be a part of like people's really fun times and great moments. And like that energy is like really great to witness and be a part of. And, I just was in school and was serving, and I was like, you know what? I was cooking a lot at home, and like really like a lot of my downtime was just spent like consuming a lot of stuff about food and recipes and trying out all this different stuff. And I just decided one day I wanted to make the leap, and I decided to start working in the kitchen. I moved from serving in the restaurant that I was working at into the kitchen. And I kind of never looked back.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
And so you worked at restaurants around the country.
Yes.
Really? Where all had you been before you made your way to Memphis?
So I worked in Milwaukee for a bit, and then I moved out to Washington, D.C. And while I was there, I worked at Cork Wine Bar, which was on U Street. And that actually, I worked there for a bit and worked my way up to sous chef. That was my first sous chef position. And then after that, I moved to New Orleans, and I worked at La Petite Grocery for a brief stint of time, which I loved. I met some of my best friends still to this day that I keep in touch with there.
I've been there once. It was a long time ago.
Yeah,
it was really good.
It's really great. I love it.
Was it a beignet? Was it like
yes,
a
the
crawfish?
the crab stuffed beignets
yes,
are very, very quintessential La Petite. And then after that, I moved back to Milwaukee and kind of got involved with this group of people who were really doing some really great things in the dining scene in Milwaukee. They all kind of came up at the same time and were very supportive of each other. So I worked at a couple of their restaurants before coming here.
And let's just get into Fawn. So Fawn is co-owned by Mary Oglesby and Paul Gilliam. They've been on Soundbites a few times. They, of course, opened Cameo Bar Midtown a few years ago, and then Fawn, and then they've opened Mary's Boat.
Yep.
I'm like, there's so many. I'm going to leave one. Right. Mary's Boat, a tropical bar, also in Midtown. And so then they kind of opened very close together in time, Fawn, in the former, it was... what was it called? Public Bistro.
Yeah, Public Bistro.
It was Public Bistro, which we also have talked to them on Soundbites before they left. And before that, it was Sweetgrass and Next Door, which is kind of like a Cooper Young staple of the 2000s. So if you're listening and you want to like put where we are geographically in your mind, it's this space. It's beautiful. First of all.
Thank you.
Yes. And so Paul and Mary, they were opening this place. This is really their first like sit down dining experience rather than a bar kind of first program.
Sure.
And so they thought of you.
Yes.
And so, how did this happen? How did you come here?
So Mary and I have been friends for a very long time. She was actually my roommate in Milwaukee, and we had worked together at that restaurant when I decided I wanted to start cooking. So she's kind of seen the evolution of my cooking career. And, when they had the little inkling that this was something they wanted to do, we always kind of talked about, if the timing was right, I would totally be down to come here. Visiting her here in Memphis. I've always loved Memphis, like as a city, and could definitely see myself living here. So when she messaged me last year, like late last year, that this might be a thing, I was like, I'm in. I'm like, let's go. Very, very rapidly, I think she messaged me in like December, and I had moved down here by March.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, but y'all are similar, I think, from what I know about you so far, that you're like, we're doing it.
Yeah.
Like
very action oriented.
Yes. Like we're not waiting. We're not lollygagging.
Yeah.
Okay. So how did you approach building the first menu at Fawn, or just the program in general for the food?
It was kind of mirrored after places that I had run in Milwaukee. Very like farmer focused. I think that it is so important to support local farmers as much as you possibly can. And because it's, the restaurant industry isn't easy, farming isn't easy, but it's like this like act of love. And so I just really appreciate getting just the freshest of produce and product that I possibly can. And that really inspires me. Like it's kind of this like symbiotic relationship where it's like, what I get from my farmers, like it's funny because sometimes like my staff will laugh at me because I'll just be like picking stuff and like eating it and like being like, okay, like what is this? And being like, oh my gosh, I forgot how much I loved this, like sort of thing. So that was a huge like core thing. And then I guess I've always kind of had my own, over the years, I've developed my own style, and it's become this thing. So I call it schmami.
Okay.
And it basically just means like I'm like a nostalgic cook. Mm-hmm. I want people to like see a plate, but then taste it and its flavors that just like brings them back to childhood or a really like prominent memory. I'd be like, oh my gosh, I can't like, this tastes so familiar, but I just can't place it kind of feeling.
Yes. Yes. So I think I was there at a soft opening. Mm-hmm. What were some of the main dishes that you built the menu around? I know there was a short rib. I don't know if you would put that in that category.
Yeah, the short rib was definitely something. I think I had done that first for a wedding that I did, but kind of like altered it a little bit for like the restaurant atmosphere. But yeah, the short rib with like the blueberry demi and the polenta is a huge thing. It's just like the most warm, comforting hug to me in like a food that you can get. I also feel like some dishes that I really liked, obviously, were the miso deviled eggs, which are so popular.
Tell us everything about them.
Yes.
Producer Natalie Van Gundy's over here, like fanning herself over these guys.
So I will let you in on a secret. Growing up in Wisconsin, I know deviled eggs are huge around here too, but they are also in Wisconsin. I never really liked them that much as a child because I felt like they were never seasoned well enough. Like, you know, your aunt brings them and they just are under seasoned with some paprika on top kind of vibe. Mm-hmm. But as an adult, I kind of realized, you know, it was just one of those kitschy things that you always saw at family functions, which very much goes along with the schmami mentality, you know, like taking things that you would see as a kid. And you know, the thought behind it was, how can I have this egg taste like a whole bowl of ramen kind of thing? So I really like my go-to like broth is I like a spicy miso broth. So I just kind of started there. It's been interesting because looking back on my social media, on my like chef Instagram page, you can kind of see like the first iteration of them and how they've evolved over like the last 6 years. But yeah, just like so much red miso in that filling, like more than that probably is appropriate. But like I really like that, like it packs that punch. And then chili crisp, which I think it's kind of everybody's condiment of choice, or should be in my personal opinion. And furikake, like just to get that seaweed and that sesame and all those fish flakes to like give that little umami pack to it.
Okay, but you can also add caviar to the deviled eggs. Can you always do that, or is that just a special?
We're running that special for a brief period of time. Sure. That might make another appearance. But yeah, the caviar to make it a little bougie is
a lot bougie.
Yeah. What you can add is more eggs to the order.
Yeah.
Yes. You can say, I want the deviled eggs plus 3 or plus 4.
It's always a great thing when people come in and I'll be like on Expo and I like see the table numbers and they'll like each person will get an order of deviled eggs and then literally 15 minutes later it's like another one. I was like, okay, cool, that's awesome.
But you also, I feel like have a lot of vegetarian options on the menu, maybe some vegan. Talk a little bit about that and having options for people.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think it's really, really important because obviously like protein in meat is amazing, but I like the extra challenge of making just like a really good, solid dish that's not your standard thing. Like right now on the menu, I think also goes back to like that produce, like getting that produce and like from the farmers and kind of like working with it in a way that isn't just like roasting it or doing something simple with it. It's kind of treating it like you would like a piece of meat or like a beef or pork or something like that. Like right now on the menu, I have a vegan dish that is a sweet potato gnocchi, and I take celery root and I basically blanch it and then I braise it in like pastrami spices. So it's basically pastrami celery root, and it's really, really tasty. I am also known for like, I've done this dish one other time, and what I did was I took some dehydrated, like I think it was soy protein, and I would like smoke the stock and then rehydrate it with the stock. So it almost tasted like a pulled, like shredded pork. But I just I just like thinking about how, like, what would I do to, a pork or a beef, and how can I do it to a vegetable that would make it taste so similarly?
Okay. The rarebit.
Yes.
Let's talk about that.
Okay.
Let's also talk about the tartare.
Okay.
Those two things.
Yes.
Go.
Okay. So
what is rarebit? What is it?
Rarebit. So rarebit is basically just, I think it's a Welsh dish that is like stout beer. It's like a beer cheese sauce spread on toast and broiled.
Yeah. But it's so much more.
Exactly. Being from Wisconsin, that just like spoke to my heart when I saw that. And I've always been obsessed with this one cheese called Ski Queen Yay Toast. And that's like a Norwegian style cheese that is like caramelized whey. So it's very caramely. It's very like umami. It's like so delicious to me. So when I was researching that dish, I immediately was like, well, this is the cheese that I want to use instead of cheddar.
Yes.
Because I thought it would play really well with the stout beer. And at the time, it was peach season. So I was going to the farmer's market and getting peaches from Jones Orchard. And so I just felt like all of those flavors really just...
And there was a radish.
Yeah, some watermelon radish, and some greens as well, just to kind of round it off and give it like a little earthiness. And yeah.
Yeah, that combination of flavors it makes total sense when you bite into it, but maybe not the traditional combinations.
Right.
It seems like I'm seeing this through the dishes. Okay, well, tell us, like, how often are you going to change the menu? And then what was your approach to the fall menu that just got released like first week in November, right? Yeah.
I think we're going to try and change kind of with the seasons, obviously. I'd like to see going in the next year, kind of some goals are to maybe have more specials or more rotating. I come from a lot of restaurants that do a pretty heavy rotation. So I really like that, like fast paced, like upbeat, like kind of constantly like moving and changing parts. And it allows me to be more creative, like more frequently. And yeah, this menu that we just launched a few weeks ago, I am super proud of. I'm super excited for it, for people to come in and eat it, because I feel like with like the colder temps, this is kind of my sweet spot of like the comfort food. So I kind of just I approach menu writing to A, what is in season, B, what's interesting to me, and like what I would want to eat if I went out. Kind of vibe. So, there's a lot of, we have a duck confit on there that has, we're getting a lot of amazing greens from our farmers right now. So we've got some braised collards in there, as well as some white beans, which is kind of a take on like a classic, like Italian, like Southern Italian dish. We have a steak on there now. Yeah. Which I love a good steak, which people are really, seem to be really into. But with it, like we have butternut, it's squash season. So I take squash and like make a puree, and I make rolls every day with them. Wow. And then what else do we even have on there?
I see a porchetta, which is something that I haven't seen or had in a really long time. Sure. It's kind of an interesting dish. I love it. I think it's like in the cold season, just like, especially we're getting our pork belly from Home Place Pastures, so their quality is like so good. That dish is kind of funny. It's kind of my take on breakfast for dinner. Okay. Because we have the porchetta itself is is stuffed with this sausage recipe that I have that's basically my breakfast sausage recipe. Okay. So it's real fennelly, and it has a lot of brown sugar, so it's sweet, but there's some spice to it. And then that comes with tomato butter, which basically is one of the most simple sauces. Sometimes I find like simplicity is the best. You don't need to like mess with things too much. It's basically just tomatoes and onion and butter, just like cooked down real low and slow for hours. And it is so delicious. It's one of my favorite things. And then, just a little fennel. And we get this really great green mix from one of our farmers as well, from the Urban Works farm. So,
Yeah, that dish, like porchetta itself, the restaurant that I worked at in Milwaukee, Good Kind, they had a French rotisserie. So we would do porchetta there all the time. And rotisserie, like, what even is the...
Rotis.
We'd rotis it.
I have no idea. What is a French rotisserie?
Yeah. So I think it has to do with like the style of the wicks and how the heat is. So there's only like 2 of them of those kind like in the United States. I think they actually got it from somebody in San Francisco. So yeah, it was a huge pleasure and like honor to be able to like use that thing because it was very beautiful.
To rotis.
Yeah, to rotis.
All the way home.
Yeah. I would rotis so many vegetables.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Also, I did want to mention there's a great bar program, if you can speak to that. And there's a couple of there's all wine pairings. I'm looking at the menu here. Like there's wine pairings for each dish and some interesting wines.
Yeah.
That's kind of fun. So
for sure.
How much do you get into that side of it?
Cocktail wise, I'm really not involved at all. Like,
sure.
But wines, sometimes I like to sit out on the wine tastings. I do think I like wine. I think it's really great. But I do like kind of funkier wine. So I think it's really nice. We've kind of evolved our wine program to have things that maybe people won't recognize on site, but once they have them, like they'll be like, oh yeah, like I like that. I think we definitely see a lot of people being like, can I get a picture of that bottle, like that label? Like I want to see like, if I can get that. So yeah, I think it's always with the bar program, they're doing such an amazing job and it really complements kind of what I'm trying to do. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a good craft cocktail situation up there. And there's espresso martinis on draft. But they're made with brandy. Brandy, right? Yes.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, which is different than what you normally get out. I just wanted to throw that out there because I think it's so interesting, and I have friends that are really into like they like make their own craft cocktails and stuff, and they're like, with brandy, genius,
right?
So there's
I feel like that's a Mary thing potentially.
I think that is a Mary thing. That sounds right.
Right.
Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit, get into it on what has the response been to the restaurant. There's a lot going on in Memphis right now, obviously. In general, task force restaurant, like it's a time with a capital T.
Yes.
And we've talked a lot on Soundbites to different people about the difficulties that the restaurant industry is facing, whether it's costs, employees, business. But how has your experience and response been from people?
Our response has been really good. I think obviously the first like 3 or 4 months, we were like the hot new thing. So people wanted to check us out and, everybody seemed to love it. I think kind of right around when the task force stuff started happening, I think everybody that I kind of talked to in the city or what I heard was there was kind of a lull there for a second.
Yeah.
Whether it was, back to school, I think there's a bunch of different reasons that kind of compounded on each other. But so it got a little slow there for a second, but I think that, everybody was seeing that, and the response of anybody that would come in is always like, oh my gosh, like this is amazing. I think a lot of the times too, there's so much going on that I still I'd be out in the public and people would be like, oh, Fawn, I haven't been there yet. I need to go there. Yeah. It's like, I didn't even know that was a thing, that sort of thing. So, the first year of opening a restaurant is always kind of a wild ride. Yeah. There's a lot of highs and a few lows. And, it's just kind of figuring out, taking your original concept, which, the tapas, the shared plate sort of thing, and kind of seeing how people are actually digesting that, and what they're doing with it, and, kind of augmenting to your vision, but then also like how people are consuming your vision.
Yeah, I have question written down here. How do you figure out what Memphis wants? What Midtown wants?
Right. To be honest, for me, I really relied heavily, obviously, on like Mary and Paul, and also Jeremy, who is our GM, and Hayes, who runs our bar program, and kind of because they all have been here for so long, or are born and raised here, so kind of talking with them, but then also, bringing my own style of things and not not being so like bullheaded that I'm like, well, I'm just going to make the food I want to make. Like, obviously, like, you know, restaurants are also businesses. So you have to like make food that other people want to eat too.
Yes, of course.
But, you know, I think that, you know, my kind of approach to this has been like, you know, putting something on like the tartine with the yay toast and stuff like that. And having people try that and be like, oh my gosh, this is like amazing. I would have never ordered this otherwise. Or the lentil dish, you know, people who aren't necessarily vegan or gluten-free, like will get it and they are like, it's the best thing ever. So kind of gaining people's trust, I guess, in like, you know, these things might not be something you're used to, or it might not sound like it's going to be this like banger of a dish. But, you know, once you do that, then you know, as you come back, you're more likely to trust me that I kind of know what I'm doing, and that, you know, this might not be something that you would order, but that you're going to start ordering things that you wouldn't normally do.
I wanted to ask, well, first of all, I wanted to, if we have time, a minute or two, to ask about, we'll talk about the gin dinner. So you had, is it Weimar?
Yeah, Weimar Gin.
Weimar Gin is a local gin, and you had a gin pairing dinner and that I was at last night, and it was amazing.
Thank you.
And there was like a kind of a stuffed marinated pepper situation. Then there was a broth with tomato jam on toast, and there was yes, all the things. It was very good. Talk a little bit about that, and do you plan to do more dinners like that?
So Weimar approached us about wanting to do this dinner, and immediately from the first meeting, I was like, I want to do Basque-style cuisine, because as soon as I heard gin, I was like, oh, you're in Spain in a plaza drinking gin and tonics at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and that's where I always want to be. So, so we had the marinated pepper that was stuffed with some ham and leek. Then we did a broth with a little pan con tomate, which is basically, you just rub some tomato and garlic on some toast, and it's delicious and simple. And then, we had some grilled squid and lamb in like a stew. And then I feel like the crowning achievement was the dessert, which was a gâteau basque cake.
You got to put that on the menu. It's real good.
It is so good. But it was so fun to do that. That's kind of the first dinner that we've done like that. And I think we definitely would love to do more and plan on doing more in the future.
I definitely think people are talking more and more about having like event programming and destination kind of dining to get people out. And
for sure.
So for a while you guys were doing a drag brunch. Yep. So you're just open for dinner. You're not doing regular brunch.
Yes.
And that's just a decision because...
I think... You know, there are a lot of amazing places to eat brunch in Memphis, and we just weren't seeing the business that we wanted to see. And we also wanted to be able to focus on these other events that we planned on doing. We still plan on doing a drag brunch every month because those are so fun, and we love working with the queens and doing that.
People need that pancake. They need that like...
Yes. The Korean pancake.
The Korean pancake.
Yes, really I know that. I hear a lot about how people...
And the chicken schnitzel with the Caesar salad.
Yes.
They need it. People need it.
It is so good.
That's great.
But we have a lot of other events coming up that we are looking to do. I think I can probably tease it. I don't think we've gone public with it, but we're planning on doing like a Midwest supper club, which is kind of this very kitschy thing that is very regional. You know, a lot of the times it's basically just like a steakhouse, but like it's always in like an old house or something like that. And you show up for your reservation, you sit at the bar, you get like a very Wisconsin old fashioned, which they serve at Cameo. And, you know, you order at the bar and then you go and sit down and there's like a relish tray and like just a basic house salad and some bread. And then you get like your steak or your chicken cordon bleu or, you know, that sort of thing. And I don't know, there's something really magical about it. It sounds so simple, but you like go there and you stay there for like 2.5, 3 hours, and it's like an event.
It's an event, and everyone's in their camo. I hear at the summer clubs. Are we going to have that at Fawn?
I wouldn't put it past anybody. I might be wearing camo. I don't know, but it's definitely like some people will like dress up to the nines for that because that's like the fancy dinner, or some people, will just, it's kind of a come as you are situation.
Well, I'm really looking forward to that. Favorite places to go out? Last question.
Sure.
Whenever you do have time.
For food or just in general?
In general,
okay.
Or food, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I spend a lot of time at Cameo.
Yeah.
Just because it's on my way home, and my friends work there, and it's part of the family. I also very much, when I get takeout on my days off when I don't feel like cooking for myself, I would say 7 times out of 10, it's Petals of Peony.
Yeah.
Because it reminds me of my favorite restaurant in Milwaukee, the Szechuan Chinese restaurant.
What do you get at Petals?
I really like the cumin lamb. I get the crispy chicken. They have a soup too, that I will get occasionally, but people sleep on the green beans.
Okay.
The green beans are so tasty and so good, and they're cooked really well. That's like always a standard must for me. That's
the kind of tidbits we want here on this hair podcast.
Yeah, don't sleep on the green beans from Petals of Peony.
Well, Theresa, thank you so much. This is all the time we have today. This is Daily Memphian Soundbites Food Podcast with me, Holly Whitfield. We have been talking with Theresa Schuenke from Fawn Restaurant in Cooper Young. If you're listening on WYXR, keep listening for the Sidebar Arts and Culture Podcast with Daily Memphian CEO Eric Barnes right after this. If you're listening through your podcast app on your phone, please take the time to subscribe to this podcast, and then you won't miss any episodes. We've had like 50-something episodes this year. Every week, there's a lot of good stuff to listen. We've talked to some really amazing people. Theresa is now one of them. So thank you again.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.